This is a story of two brothers who lived side by side in their own farms for many years until one day a foolish argument caused a rift between them. This was the first serious disagreement the brothers had in all of their 50 years. Up until that day, they always worked the fields together, shared the knowledge and produce, and lent a helping hand to one another in times of need. The fight began over a small misunderstanding which can sometimes happen, but the dispute dragged on and became an angry exchange of words. This happens quite often with us, isn't it? And followed by weeks of silence, one day there was a knock on the older brother's door. When he opened it, he was facing an old bearded carpenter holding a toolbox. "I could show you some work, sir," said the stranger. "Do you need any repairs in your farm?" "Yes," replied the brother, "I've got a job for you. Across the creek, there's a farm that happens to belong to my younger brother. Until recently, the whole area between our homes was green. But then he changed the creek's path, making it into a border between us. I'm sure he did that for a spite, but I'll show him," said the old brother. "You see those trees by the barn? I want you to turn them into a 10 feet tall fence. I never want to see my brother's face again." The old carpenter thought quietly to himself for a few minutes and eventually said, "I see the farmer helped the carpenter carry his tools and the wood, and they drove off to the city on some errands. When he came back in the evening, the old carpenter had finished doing his work. Upon arriving at the creek, the older brother was stunned. His eyes were bulging out, and he couldn't utter a single word. Where a fence should have been standing, a bridge now stood. A quaint and a special bridge, truly a work of art with an intricately carved banister. At the same time, the younger brother happened to come to the same spot. He rushed over the bridge and embraced his brother and said, 'You're something special, brother, building a bridge after all I've said and done.' While both brothers were hugging, the old carpenter collected his tools and started walking away. The brother turned to him and said, 'Please stay for a few more days. We have more things that need fixing.' 'I would have loved to stay, kind sirs,' said the carpenter, 'but I have many more bridges to build and things to fix in other places.' My dear brothers and sisters, the moral of our story is a simple one. We often let anger push us away for our loved ones and allow pride to come before our love, isn't it? Don't let it happen to you. Learn to forgive and appreciate what you have. You may not have enough time to do it tomorrow. Take it a moment, because God loves a forgiving heart. Remember, the past cannot be changed, but the future can be. No quarrel can spoil a true connection. Building your bridges when you have to, and always cross them with a smile. What does the Bible say about forgiveness? Quite a bit. In fact, forgiveness is a dominant theme throughout the Bible, isn't it? But it's not uncommon for Christians to have many questions about forgiveness. The act of forgiveness does not come easy for most of us. Our natural instinct to recoil in self-protection when we've been injured, we don't naturally overflow with mercy, grace, and understanding when we've been wronged. In Christian forgiveness, a conscious choice, a physical act involving the will, or it's a feeling, an emotional state of being. The Bible offers insight and answers to our questions about forgiveness. Let's take a look at some of the most frequently asked questions and find out what the Bible says about forgiveness. Is forgiveness a conscious choice? Let's question ourselves. Or it's an emotional state. Forgiveness is a choice we make, my brothers and sisters. It is a decision of our will, motivated by obedience to God and His command to forgive. The Bible instructs us to forgive as the Lord forgave us. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Colossians 3:13. We read it. So how do we forgive when we don't feel like forgiving someone? It's a big, complicated things that you and me always often feel it, isn't it? But we forgive by faith, out of obedience. Since forgiveness goes against our nature, we must forgive by faith. Whether we feel like it or not, we must trust God to do the work in us that needs to be done so that our forgiveness will be complete. Our faith brings us confidence in God's promise to help us forgive and shows that we trust in His character. Faith shows the reality of what we hope for. It is the evidence of things we cannot see. We read it in Hebrews 11:1. So how do we translate our decision to forgive into a change of heart? God honors our commitment to obey Him and a desire to please Him when we choose to forgive. He completes the work in His time. We must continue to forgive by faith until the work of forgiveness is done in our hearts. And I am certain that God who began the good work with you will continue His work until it is finally finished on the day when Christ Jesus returns. Philippians 1:6. How will we know if we have truly forgiven? My dear brothers and sisters, a great theologian once written, Louis B. Smedes, writes in his book Forgive and Forget, when you release the wrongdoer from the wrong, you cut a malign tumor out of your inner life. You set a prisoner free, but you discover that the real prisoner was yourself. We will know the work of forgiveness is complete when we experience the freedom that comes as a result. We are the ones who suffer most when we choose not to forgive, my brothers and sisters. When we do forgive, the Lord sets our hearts free from the anger, bitterness, resentment, and hurt that previously imprisoned us. Most of the time, forgiveness is a slow process. Then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, I tell you, not 7 times, but 770 times. It's written in Matthew 18:21. Jesus' answer to Peter makes it crystal clear that forgiveness is not easy for us. It's not a one-time choice and then we automatically live in a state of forgiveness. Essentially, Jesus was saying, keep on forgiving until you experiencing this freedom of forgiveness. How beautiful and profound these thoughts are, isn't it? Forgiveness may require a lifetime of forgiving, but it is important to the Lord. We must continue forgiving until the matter has been settled in our heart. My dear brothers and sisters, the day I realized how forgiving is so important in my life completely changed. I have let go all my grudges, and I'm sure this has blessed you today. May God bless you. Shalom.